Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to walk you through about application onboarding with the different modernized protocols and the common issues and troubleshooting steps that we can take, right? So this is for everyone, anyone who is working in IT or the people who are working from L1, L2 and L3 and beyond that as well, so that they can know and learn, right? So the troubleshooting steps, those are going to be the common one. Those are not something which is unknown or unseen so far or so far yet to be, right? Because as soon as we see or there are any issues, right, out of the common scenarios, those would be either application is not working or the application is onboarded successfully but still it is not working as expected, right? And that is why, and that could be a reason why we should go back and look for those issues, right? And those issues would be something either we should re-onboard application and then start building, either it is added for custom integrations or for SSO setup or anything, right? So I'm going to talk about three different methods majorly, and those are the modern ones, right? And there are many others as well. Those are the legacy, including NTLM, Kerberos, and LDAP, right? So I'm not going to talk about that in this video, but majorly into the brand new and modern ones, including OpenID Connect, OAuth 2.0, and SAML, right? So these are the modern authentication protocols along with the application onboarding, right? Because as soon as we onboard any of those modern or any of those applications which are going to support any of these protocols, and any reason or it could be any purpose of that application onboarding, right? So it could be setting up single sign-on for the enterprise based application, or it could be SSO setup, or it could be an API permissions integrations with in-house developed applications, or it could be any of those kind of service account or service daemon kind of account or action. It needs certain API permissions to be able to execute certain actions in the backend, right? Even if it is not a human identity, but it is going to be a system managed identity, right? So that is how it is going to be leveraged and utilized, right? So let's go ahead and let me share my screen and I'll simply walk you through all of those onboarding steps and scenarios as well. All right, I think it's not putting it on presentation mode. Let me put that first and I'll simply bring it on. All right, so hope you can see it. All right, so this is going to be onboarding and troubleshooting with any of these or all of these with common issues, right? So this is not going to be a unknown or which are not really common issues, right? So let's go ahead. So these are the authentication protocols we all know and we see, and these are being leveraged and utilized in our day-to-day operations, day-to-day projects, and day-to-day work, right? And you might say we know about this, but what's new in that, or what is going to be utilized, or how these are relevant, or wherever it is going to be, right? So each of these protocol is unique in nature, you know that, right? Because OpenID Connect, which is of course modern one, which also supports and is built on top of Auth 2.0, and Auth 2.0 is a separate one altogether, which is providing accessibility and everything through APIs, right? And SAML is going to be simply for Federation for Enterprise SSO applications, right? Basically. So this was a basic intro with all of these protocols, but beyond that, we can define and decide what is going to be leveraged for application onboarding, right? So the main purpose of this video is to show you how you can really onboard applications with any of these protocols that is going to be leveraged for different scenarios and different use cases, right? That is why and that is when it is going to be built and used for the business. So the simple steps for OpenID Connect, which is also called as OIDC. So this is in the context of Azure AD or Entra ID, we can call it as that way, right? So starting from registering applications and then configuring a redirect URL or URI supporting account types, right? So supporting account types, it includes multiple options for us, and we can go ahead and leverage them one by one or as per need and as per requirement, basically, including a single tenant or within tenant itself or multi-tenant or multi-tenant with consumer identities, right? And there is one more option which is multi-tenant with Microsoft consumer identity providers like Skype ID or Hotmail and something like that, right? Then other steps you can simply see by creating client ID, client secrets, and authority URL, which can also be integrated using OIDC, client libraries like MSAL and OAuth SDKs, and validate ID tokens by using ZOT or JWT, which is going to, of course, return after user sign-in, right? So that's going to build a flow between user and the system and vice versa. And the simple example of this is going to be integration for web portal using MSAL libraries, right? So this is just an example, but when you do it in a real time, you should be able to understand that way. The next one is OAuth 2.0, which is API authentication method way, right? Where these are the common flows, including authentication code flow for web apps and single page applications. Then the client credentials flow is going to be service to service applications that we would be leveraging, and similarly on device code flow, CLI or IoT devices in that scenario. Even this is going to be the same as well, where we would simply register an application, operating access token, using OAuth flow and call protected APIs using bearer tokens, right? So this is going to be the simple straightforward way as well to register and get it done. And access graph API using client credentials flows. So that's going to be allowed and utilized and leveraged for the same, right? The next one is a SAML, right? SAML 2.0. Why? Because it's the new one and latest version of SAML protocol, right? Which is utilized for single sign-on and different integrations as well, right? So majorly it is being used for single sign-on, right? And we all know we see it is being used for enterprise-based applications like Salesforce or ServiceNow and any other platforms. Those are the SaaS solutions across the businesses, right? And we can simply go ahead and integrate that with the Entra, Okta, and Ping identities and all other products. By configuring SAML integrations with any of those identity providers, it is going to simply exchange metadata XML between service provider and identity provider, and then mapping the attributes based on the need. Now, each platform supports different attributes and different mapping, right? When it comes to synchronizing identities or providing access to the respective applications or the respective workload by utilizing identity providers, identity with the service provider, right? And assigning the users and groups to the respective applications so that it is going to be provisioned or synchronized and allowed access to all of those applications or services that we are going to provide. And then simply test the single sign-on, and that's going to be validated SAML assertion, right? So that's going to be leveraged and provide access to the respective applications. So these are the some of the common issues that you would see and you might have seen as well. So starting from invalidated URI, which is of course checking the registration application or app registration. If that URI is not correctly set or configured, right, the certificate is expired or secret, where we need to renew it and update it with the respective configurations, and that should be working as expected, including invalid signature or issuer, which is throwing an error or notifications, and we can go ahead and validate tokens or SAML assertion. And users not users is not authorized, right? That means verify users or group assignments, because if they don't have appropriate access or permission to access that respective application itself, they cannot go ahead and access that respective service provider or service application, right? And some of the tools over here, jwt.io, Postman, Fiddler, SAML Tracer, Entra ID sign-in logs, right? So these are the some of the tools that we can go ahead and leverage to troubleshoot any of those common, and not only common, but beyond that also we can go ahead and identify, because there are some of the issues and errors which will show up what exactly is happening behind the scenes when user tries to access any of those applications, which is simply not allowing access, or it is blocking, or it could be any of the policies that are simply holding that user access and not allowing them to get into the system, right? So those are the scenarios as well too, and some of the real world use cases, right? So starting from internal portal with Azure AD, which is of course integrated with OIDC, and then another application which is FinOps Automation Accessing Graph API, OAuth 2.0, Salesforce SSO with the SAML and multi-tenant SaaS onboarding, of course with OIDC, and hybrid app registration of federation using SAML plus OIDC bridge, right? So these are the some of those examples which can give you more clarity. And there's one thing to know and understand is of, until and unless you really don't do any of these things, including IODC and OAuth 2.0, and you must have seen and have done SAML integrations with different SaaS-based applications. That's pretty straightforward, and you really don't have to do much, and you really don't have to do a customized way of doing things, right? But in OIDC and OAuth 2.0, those are the protocols which needs some of the customized integrations, and upon that we should be able to do that. And the forward thinking of this, that is something which you can go ahead from this year and beyond, is going to be OIDC replacing SAML as modern standards. This is not yet done, or this is not yet happening, but still going forward, there are chances, and this is going to happen in certain cases or certain use cases, because not every application is going to be leveraging SAML. And when it is customized, developed in house, and any organization is not going to rely on SAML, they would either choose OIDC or OAuth 2.0, right? Another one is passwordless authentication using FIDO2, integration with conditional access policy. That's happening now, and that's going to be enhanced going forward as well. Token exchange for multi-cloud and hybrid identity, right? Along with the continuous monitoring and adaptive authentication, right? So these are the forward thinking, and forward thinking, that means those could be implemented and available for the businesses and organizations to use and leverage on different ways, right? So that way it is going to be leveraged, right? And utilized as well, right? So yep, that is what I wanted to talk about and walk you through. Hope that was insightful and something to learn about it. Let me know if you have any questions, any doubts, and anything that you wanted to know about this one, right? I know this was pretty straightforward and quick and easy, but definitely this was worth the knowing and learning about it, right? And if you have any questions, anything that you wanted to know about any of these scenarios, including OIDC, OAuth 2.0, and SAML, and I'd be happy to answer any of those questions and help you on that scenario. So, yep, that's all on this. Don't forget to like this video, share it to your friends, and subscribe to the channel as well, right? So that's it. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.